Good morning, everybody. I can't believe it's been so long since I've seen you. I miss you all. I want to see your faces, and hopefully we'll get to do that again sometime really soon. But for now, this is what we're going to do. Moms and dads, this is going to be new for all of us, our virtual learning. It's going to look differently for us here in pre-K, obviously, than it does for the older kids, but it's going to be good. I want to make sure that our kids are able to keep up with what we would have been doing anyway, so that they can, no matter how long we're doing this virtually, no matter how long we're doing it, they'll be okay. Either to start back up with us again in a couple of weeks or to go on to kindergarten for next year. So each day I'm going to give you, put out a video on my YouTube channel. I can't believe I just said those words out loud. But each morning then, or each day sometime, you can look at the video and see what we're doing each day. I'm going to give you instructions for the lesson sheets that we're doing. I'm going to be reading to the boys and girls the different stories that we will have been reading for that week, that we will read for that week. All sorts of things that we'll do during the day. I do want you to know, though, and hear me say that a lot of our pre-K day is spent with socializing and learning self-reliance skills and independence skills and things like that. So it's not just math and writing and reading. It is also having snack together and having them get it out and put it away and clean up. It's also talking with their friends, which I know is going to be difficult for you right now. It's difficult for all of us, so maybe FaceTiming or telephone calling, or even I thought, too, what would be really fun to do for the kids would be they've started dictating different things, stories to me on their pictures. It might be fun to write letters to Grandma and Grandpa's or to friends or to me. I would love that, and that would be really good instruction for them too. But make sure they fit in plenty of playtime. Make sure you do lots of arts and crafts with them. I know that scares you a little bit. It scares me too, but it'll be okay. Each week I'll have at least one, sometimes two different craft activities for you to do at home with them, and this is going to be good. God is good, and God is in control, and this is going to be just fine. On Tuesday, and I'm assuming it's going to be every Tuesday, we're going to have a grab-and-go pack for you in the parking lot for you to come and pick up the week's lessons, lesson sheets, craft activities, and the things that go along with it for you to take home with you. And you don't have to come into the school. Mr. Montgomery's trying to keep contact at a minimum, of course. So you'll just drive through. And I'm not sure if it's going to be Mrs. Shallow or Mrs. Woodcart, or all of them are going to be out there passing out your child's packets to you for the week. And then on Friday, if you would do something for me, I want to, since we don't know how long this is going to go, I want to be able to track what your kids are doing. So if you would just snap a picture of all your kids' work, either all in one shot or individually, doesn't matter a bit to me, and email them to me, those pictures, either daily or all of them on Friday, doesn't matter a bit, whatever is easiest for you. That way I can track how they're doing and just make sure they're staying on track with what the expectations are for them here in pre-K. As always, I mean, so many of you email me and text me. Please, please, please don't hesitate to do that. I will leave at the end of this my email address for all of you if you don't have access to that. I'm sure that you do, though, because it's all on the HCS website as well. But my personal website, web address, and then, Hotmail address, and then my text, my number. Text me, call me if you have any questions, any concerns. This is going to be something new for all of us, so don't hesitate to call me if you have any questions. Okay? All right. We're going to go right into our first day of learning. It's going to be Wednesday. We're going to do just a Wednesday and a Thursday video this week, so that Friday the teachers and staff can get together and kind of tweak what we've done and make improvements for next week. So that's the end of my introductory. I'm just going to move right on in now to my instruction for the kids that they would be having on Wednesday. I can't believe that we've not been together for so long, boys and girls, and I don't know how long it's going to be, but you keep praying for me, and I'm going to keep praying for you. I'm going to move through some things real quick. I want to show Mom and Dad how we do our calendar each day and the different things that we have within that we do. I'm probably not going to sing any songs for you because nobody really wants to hear that. But you're going to be able to see all of the other things that we do, and I'm going to read some stories for you, and I'm going to show you and Mom and Dad. I think you probably already know how to do this, but Mom and Dads need to see how we do our journals and our different papers that we have during the week, okay? So, since we won't be together this week, but the first day you're going to see this is going to be on Wednesday. I'm not sure if you can see it from where you are. I couldn't get my camera to zoom in anymore, but maybe you can zoom in on yours. This is just basic stuff, Mom and Dad, but it is what we go through every day, so it might be a good idea for you just to keep up the routine with them. We go through what the number for the day is, and of course, to get a little math activity in, we count all of the days. So we go through each and every single day. The kids know these numbers really well by now. And then I would stop at 24 and wait for them to tell me what the next number is, which is 25. And then I also want them to tell me, what does the 25 look like? And it's not good enough to say a 5 and a 2. It has to be the right way. It has to be a 2 and a 5. And I'm going to put it right there. And a lot of the boys and girls can even tell me, if those numbers were flipped around and it was a 5 and a 2, what would that number be? So you can ask your kids if they might know that. There's a couple of them, about 5 of them in here that would be able to do that. If you look straight up from the 25, I tell them that's the name of the day today. And then they're able to say all the days of the week. So they'd say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I ask them to spell the day of the week for me, starting with a capital letter. I'm pretty picky about that. They can tell you. So we're going to spell the day of the week. And then they've also just in the last couple of weeks started telling me the answer to, well, if today's Wednesday, then what was yesterday? And I want them to tell me it was Tuesday. If I say, okay, well, then today's Wednesday, what's tomorrow? And they'd be able to tell me Thursday. So you can kind of help them through that as well. After that, we go into the month. And we have a month song that we would sing. I'm not going to sing it for you, but we would go through all of the months of the year. They can tell me that there's 12 of them. They can tell me that this month is called March and that when we spell it, it begins with a capital M. And then we'd go right into the year, and they'd tell me what the year is, and then we'd put it all together. We like to make up goofy voices like a robot voice or underwater voice or an alligator voice. And we say, or even a whisper voice, that's fun sometimes, to say, for instance, today is Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. And then we go right into our season chart, but that's really not going to be applicable since I have no idea what the weather's going to be like on Wednesday. But we talk about the season that we're in right now. And I don't know if anybody picked up on this, boys and girls, but it's not winter anymore. We got into spring while we were away, and I'm so happy to see that has come. So you can tell Mom that it's spring now. Tell Mom and Dad and Grandmas and Grandpas it's spring, and then go through the weather. What's it like outside? Is it foggy? Is it cloudy? Is it rainy? Is it snowy? Is it cold or cool or warm? You can go ahead and talk about that with Mom and Dad, and they'll love to hear you do that. After we do that, then we go through our Bible verse, and it's always posted right here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but this month's verse is, for in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in it, and rested on the 7th day. That's from Exodus 20, chapter 11. Make sure that they tell you the address with it too. And then we go through what we call our God words. We've got each week, I should say, we have a new letter that we're working on, and we have a God word that's attributed to each letter of the alphabet. And this week we're talking about the letter U. So our God word this week is unchanging. But the boys and girls can tell you all of the words. They are, God is almighty. He is beautiful. He is our creator. He is our defender. He is everlasting. He is my friend. He is gracious. He is holy. He is incredible. He is Jesus. He is King. He is loving. He is magnificent. He is never ending. He is omniscient. He is powerful. He is quiet. He is righteous. He is our Savior. He is the truth. And this week, He is unchanging. And thank goodness He is unchanging, boys and girls, because our world right now is changing so fast and things are so crazy right now. But it's going to be okay because we know that our God is unchanging. His love for us is unchanging and unmovable, and He has everything under control. We might not feel like we do, and mom and dad and grandmas and grandpas might not feel like they do either, but God knows what's happening. He's in control of everything. That's good news. The next thing that we would move into then would be our alpha story for the week. This week, we are on the letter U. It's a pretty good story this week. It's about an umbrella bird. I've never seen a real umbrella bird before in my life. I'm just assuming that it's a real thing. But this is a really good story. And boys and girls, it's like so many of our stories. It starts out kind of sad, but it ends up being really, really good. So if you just want to kick back and listen to all the words that start with the sound, that's what we're going to be focusing in on this week. Some of these words are going to have the U or the oo sound too. That's when the letter says its own name. And we can talk about that a little bit too. But I really want to focus on the short vowel sound, Umbrella bird is unlike any other bird. He has very unusual feathers. I hope you can see that. The other birds tease Umbrella bird about his unusual feathers. They think his feathers look like a giant umbrella.
Why is your umbrella up?
The other birds ask Umbrella bird.
Is it going to rain today?
Look, there's a lot of sun out, just a few clouds. I don't think it's going to rain. But watch the sky as the story goes on. The teasing makes Umbrella bird very unhappy. He tries to hide his feathers under a hat. But it's no use. His umbrella always pops up. One day, Umbrella decides to visit his uncle. He hops on his unicycle and pedals uptown.
Look at those ugly feathers!
The other birds call as the Umbrella bird rides by. Umbrella bird pretends not to even hear them. He looks up at the sky and keeps on pedaling. Uh-oh, says Umbrella bird. He sees dark clouds way up high. Suddenly, it begins to pour, but Umbrella bird notices that he's not getting wet. Umbrella bird's umbrella is keeping him dry. The other birds look for a dry place. Umbrella bird calls to them, "Come under my umbrella. It's dry under here." I'm going to stop it for a second. Were they nice to him? No. But is he being nice to them? Yep. I think that's what Jesus would want us to do too. "Quickly," says Umbrella bird, as the other birds duck under his feathers. The birds stay under Umbrella bird's umbrella until the rain stops. All the birds thank Umbrella bird.
"Your wonderful umbrella kept us dry," they say. "We're sorry we upset you with our teasing. We wish we had umbrellas like you."
Now Umbrella bird holds his head up high when he's out riding his unicycle. And sometimes Umbrella bird even wishes for a little rain. That's a good story, huh? I liked that one. And you can look at the pictures here and see if you can find all of the things that might begin with the sound or the U sound. Well, going along with our story this week, boys and girls, we are going to each day do our writing sheet. It's a little bit different this week because we're only going to have 2 days. So on the first day, I'm going to show you what our lesson sheet looks like, or what our writing sheet. Oh, I almost forgot. This is your journal for each day. I'm going to include this in your weekly packet for Mom and Dad and Grandma and Grandpa. Do one of these a day. Boys and girlies, you know what I expect. I'm pretty picky about the way you make your letters. And then I want you to make a magnifico masterpiece. I want to see a beautiful picture. You have gotten so great at using all sorts of colors and making all sorts of really wonderful patterns and designs and pictures of, let's see, what were we making week before I left? I think I saw a lot of superheroes like Hulk and those guys, I think. Oh, and Bumblebee. I saw a lot of bumblebees too, boys. So whoever wants, you can make whatever you want any day. Sometimes I give instructions. For instance, if it's a really sunny day, I'll say, I want you to make a picture of a sunny day. But then on the back, you can draw whatever you want. So these are for you to do every single day. But today, also, you're going to do the first part of your writing sheets. We don't do both parts each day because it's a little overwhelming. So first of all, you're going to write your name right here on the top. A lot of my friends are even writing their last names. And then I want you to trace the letter and then make your own. I'm picky about this one. Make sure that it's correct. Just with the capital letters for today. So Wednesday, you're going to make your capital letter U's. And that's it. Okay? The next thing I want to do for you is to read your Bible story for you today. It's a really good one. You know, we've got Easter coming up. I don't know if we're going to get to be together before Easter even comes. I hope we do. But in case we don't, we got a lot of talking to do about it. We've already talked a lot about Easter and what it means. A lot of the boys and girls already know the story. And we talk a lot about how we can hear the same story over and over and over again. But each time we might hear something different in it. And with each book that we read that same story from, it might sound a little bit different because each author might write it a little bit differently. And each illustrator might draw some different pictures to go along with it. So I know you're probably not going to be able to see these pictures very well, but I'm going to read the story for this week for you, boys and girls. It's called The Servant King. It's a really good one. It was Passover, the time when God's people remembered how God had rescued them from being slaves in Egypt. Every year they killed a lamb and ate it. The lamb died instead of us, they would say. But this Passover, God was getting ready for an even greater rescue. I love that. Jesus and his friends were having a Passover meal together in an upstairs room. But Jesus' friends were arguing. What about? Well, they were arguing about stinky feet. Stinky feet? Yep, stinky feet. Now, the thing about feet back then was that people didn't wear shoes. They only wore sandals, which might not sound that unusual, except that the streets in those days were really, really dirty. And I don't mean just dusty dirty, I mean stinky dirty. With all those cows and horses everywhere, you can just imagine the stuff on the street that ended up on their feet. So anyway, someone had to wash away the dirt, but it was a dreadful job. Nobody wanted to do it. Who on earth would ever want to volunteer to do it? Only the lowliest servant. I'm not the servant, Peter said. Nor am I, said Matthew. quietly, Jesus got up from the table, took off his robe, picked up a basin of water, knelt down, and started to wash his friend's feet. "You can't," said Peter. He didn't understand about Jesus being a servant king. "If you don't let me wash away the dirt, Peter," Jesus said, "you can't be close to me." Jesus knew that what people needed most was to be clean on the inside. All the dirt on their feet was nothing compared to the sin on the inside in their hearts. "Then wash me, Lord," Peter said, tears filling his eyes. "All of me." One by one, Jesus washed everyone's feet. "I'm doing this because I love you," Jesus explained. "So do this for each other." Now, one of Jesus' friends had made a really bad plan. Boys and girls, we've talked about group plans, and we've talked about our own plans. This guy had his own plan, and it was a bad, bad plan. No one else knew what the bad plan was, but Jesus knew, and so did Judas. Judas was going to help the leaders capture Jesus. For only 30 pieces of silver, he was going to turn him over. "Go on, Judas," Jesus said. And Judas got up from the meal, left the room, and walked out into the night. Then Jesus picked up some bread and broke it. He gave it to his friends. He picked up a cup of wine and thanked God for it, and he poured it out and shared it. "My body is like this bread," he said. "It's going to break." Jesus told them, "This cup of wine is like my blood. It's going to be spilled out. But this is how God is going to rescue the whole world. My life will break and God's broken world will mend. My heart will tear apart and your hearts will heal. Just as the Passover lamb died, so now I will die instead of you. My blood will wash away all of your sins, and you'll be clean on the inside, in your hearts. So whenever you eat and drink, remember," Jesus said, "I've rescued you." Jesus knew it was nearly time for him to leave the world and go back to God. "I won't be with you long," he said. "You are going to be very sad, but God's helper will come, and then you'll be filled up with a forever happiness that won't ever, ever leave. So don't be afraid. You are my friends, and I love you." Then they sang their favorite song and walked up to their favorite place, an olive garden. Boys and girls, that ends our story for the week. It's leading up to when Jesus was crucified on the cross. Sometimes it's hard to hear some of those stories, but you got to hear all of the stories, because in the very end, it ends up really, really good, doesn't it? We've talked so many times about how this is many of you have said this is one of your very favorite stories in all of the stories of the Bible. Even though it starts out really, really sad, it gets really, really good in the very end, doesn't it? All right, my friends. I also want to show you an activity that you can do on Wednesday. Mom and Dad, be brave. This is what it's going to end up looking like. It's an umbrella. Mrs. Smith cut out coffee filters in this shape for y'all. And then she traced, I don't know if you can see these, umbrella handles for you. So this is what you're going to do. Mom and Dad, I'm assuming y'all have markers at home. If you don't, let me know. Don't do this yet. And I'll send some markers home with you next week. If anybody needs them, let me know. But what you're going to do is you're going to cover the whole coffee filter, one side of it, with markers. Just like I did with this one. See, I didn't leave any white spaces, boys and girls. How many times do you hear me say that? Don't leave any white spaces. But then the cool thing, after you have put your markers all over it, Then with the spray bottle, with just some water, just lightly spray over the coffee filter, and all of those colors are going to blend together, and they're going to be so incredibly beautiful. And then after it dries, you can have this to cut out. You boys and girls are such great cutters. Cut it out. Cut it out, and then you can glue it to the top of your umbrella so that it will look something like this. Mom and Dad, I would love to see a picture of this to see how it all turned out. They're always so cute, and it makes me pretty sad because when we do this activity this time during the year, we hang them up on the windows, and they're so pretty when they're hung up, but you're going to get to keep them this year. Mom and Dad and boys and girlies, some of the other things in your packet this week you're going to have are some of our coloring sheets. You do not need to take pictures of the coloring sheets that you do. These are just some fun enrichment sheets that are fun for the kids to do. They always love to color and marker on these. So just as a reminder, we'll go into Thursday's video here in just a second, but I only need pictures of, for instance, for this week, it'll be the letter writing sheets, their journals, and their umbrellas from today. And then tomorrow, and for tomorrow's video, I'm going to give you a couple other activities to do too that I would love to see pictures of. So that ends our video for the very first day. I'm hoping for you and for me that this gets easier and better and clearer with each passing week. Anyway, I got to give a shout out to my California family. They are the ones, my son-in-law and my daughter and my grandson Jackson, boys and girls, you all know them. You've seen pictures of them all the time. They're the ones that are helping me put this together, and they're the ones that are going to remotely, because they're still in California, they're going to be the ones to tell me what I need to add and maybe what I need to take out, like maybe take out the goofy voices that I use with the books. I don't know. I hope not, because I like those goofy voices. So, whatever. All right. So, that ends day 1, Wednesday. And in just a moment, I'm going to make the second video, but you're going to watch it tomorrow. Okay?